Yo, welcome back to Geoguessr Explained. Fantastic to have you along back on the channel. And today we are looking at one of the most legendary Geoguessr countries. It's of course Indonesia, which was the most upvoted comment on the previous video. If you want to suggest which country you'd like me to explain next, go ahead and do so. Basically, the format of these videos is I read through the guide and explain to you what I think the most useful tips for the country are, help you differentiate it from other countries. Then we look at the topography and the coverage of the country in MapMaker, and then I jump into a bunch of games and just explain my thought process as I play some Indonesia. Now, there are plenty of people, who are much better at Indonesia than I am, but this is aimed at intermediate, so I think even if I make some mistakes in this video as a pro, I will be able to get you most of the way there. So yeah, should be fun. Let's get into the first one here, and the video's recording, and it seems like the audio is good, so let's move on. So, it's a left-hand drive country, very useful. If you don't know your driving directions, I'm assuming you do, but in Southeast Asia, they're very useful indeed. You can differentiate it from Thailand by the left-hand drive. We have a lot of Generation 4 in Indonesia. It was very well covered in Generation 3, but they just spammed Gen 4 there. I don't know why Google focused on Indonesia so much, but yeah, this has a bunch of new Gen 4. It's constantly being updated. So this is the old number plate, which is the one you see in the majority of the time. It's got 3 sections. They can be useful if they're unblurred, but for the sake of this video, just remember there's 3 sections. Indonesia has more islands, so it's 3 sections on the Indo plate, 2 parts of Malaysia. So the mainland and Borneo, they make up the 2 sections of the Malaysian plates, which are also black with white text. So just bear that in mind. I think that's the best way to remember it. You can't really go wrong if you just remember that Malaysia has 2 parts. And so Malaysia, being the 2-parted country, has 2 things on the number plate. Other than that, in terms of number plates, you should be fine. They either use yellow or white center lines. Yellow ones are the ones in Generation 4 most of the time. White ones often in Generation 3. It's just how they started to do it. They moved to yellow lines. It does make it easier to differentiate from Malaysia now, because Malaysia is pretty much always using white. In fact, is always using white. Indonesian flag is often on the poles, which is pretty useful. And Indonesian poles have very unique pole tops. There's going to be a lot of discussion of pole tops in this video, but just learning how they look will help you so much in country streaks, because Indonesia just has poles everywhere, and they often have one of these designs amongst another couple, and the way the crossbar is and the way they set up the pole is just quite different to Malaysia, quite different to to Thailand, so pretty useful. Here we have some bollards. They use kind of UK-style ones sometimes, interestingly. They use Thailand-style ones, interestingly. And this one would be like a unique Indonesian one. I would say bollards are minorly useful in Indonesia, so you don't need to worry about that too much. Just good to know that they are possible. Waystones, I don't know how to use them, so read it if you want. Indonesian language can be a language where it's difficult to make out what's a place name and what's not. But I mean, that's how it looks. It is very much related to Malaysian, and I think somewhat related to Filipino as well, to Tagalog as well. I'm not exactly sure, but they sometimes look similar. White banners around the place. They just have tons of banners. Indonesian style ones, Buddhist style ones, just colorful stuff, and tons of tarps over the, hanging down from things and all this kind of thing. Cigarette ads are very common as well, and they have the RP, which is the currency, but they're not useful for finding information, so skip by them. Even if they look like they might have something useful on them, they never contain where you are. They have front plates on motorbikes, which is not very common in Southeast Asia, so that can be useful on country streaks, though I find them often quite hard to read. Rupiah is the currency. Regional and specific clues. Okay, so Kabupaten. So there are 417 Kabupaten in Google Street View. It is the level below, so there's provinces, then there's Kecamatan, and then there's Kabupaten. Now, provinces, Kabupaten, and then Kecamatan. So Kabupaten comes below provinces, even though there are like 20 provinces, there are 400, or there are 600 or something Kabupaten. And if you learn these, they're very useful because they write them all the time. So they write the province, which is provincie, quite a bit of the time, but they write the Kabupaten, which is regency, a lot of the time. So that's why people learn them. Now, outside of Java, the couple button do not show up on the map, so that's why you have to remember where they are, which is quite difficult. Learning the, if you want to play moving, then learning the cardinal directions in Indonesian is absolutely essential. Here's how I do it. North, Utara. I just remember it being upper, like Utara being upper, because that's north. East, Timor. I mean, famously, Timor-Leste means east, right? As far as I remember. Or is it East Timor? No, sorry. Timor-Leste, no. East Timor means east, which is what some people call Timor-Leste, right? Anyway, that's quite easy to remember if you remember that. South, Selatan, they both start with S. That one's an easy one. West, Barat. That one is like not one. And these two I don't really have a good way of remembering. But Tenga and Barat. So, I mean, if you get these two, then obviously West is kind of left over. And then Tenga for Central. Nusa Tenggara, southeastern. Yeah, Tenggara means southeast, so yeah. Okay. Where each poll type is common. So, crucial differentiation for Indonesia is the way the poll tops look. So, we have the even one, where the insulator comes on the middle or very near the middle, and the bar is the same length on either side. That's the crucial part, I would say. And then we have the uneven one, where it's clearly longer on one side, and you have two on one side and one on the other. Now, that's generally speaking the way things will go. And as you can see, there are certain parts of the country where this is very useful. I'll draw your attention to Java and to Kalimantan. They kind of go opposite ways. So in East Java, you get uneven polls, and then you get even ones in Central and West Java. And then conversely, over on Kalimantan, you get the uneven ones in the east instead. Oh no, it's the same. What am I talking about? But it's one province only on the west where you get the even ones. So yeah, I mean, actually they're kind of in line with each other. That's pretty. I don't know how I managed to screw that up, but there you go. Sumatra is quite difficult with poles. It's mixed. North Sumatra is the one that like consistently uses even pole tops, and Aceh consistently uses uneven ones, but Aceh is very rare due to having limited coverage. Nusa Tenggara tends to have symmetrical ones. That being said, like Nusa poles are also often metal as well, which is pretty useful. Same thing in Kalimantan. And then you get some nice variations over in Sulawesi that make it quite, I would say, guessable based on the style of pole, which we'll talk about soon. So, this triangle at the bottom is very common in the western part of Java and then can be seen in Sumatra. I would call this one you should very much learn. Even more essential is the Nusa pole, which has an extremely long extender. So you can see that we have extenders on a lot of these, or support beams on a lot of these crossbars, but this one specifically comes down from the edge of the crossbar all the way down and makes a nice, a right-angled triangle or whatever. So that is, I would say, very much worth learning. You can see it's only in this part of the country here. Okay. The trident style of pole top is found, the kind of raised trident like this is found primarily in Central Java. And when you see this one in Central Java, it will kind of be American style. And I disagree with the way that they've chosen this. I'm actually going to open this up so we can see. Because it is attached, and even one more frame here. It is attached by this metal thing, and that, sometimes you don't even have the other insulators, but this thing is just unique to Central Java as far as I remember. So I would say that one's like also top tier. And then the other, like, tridents you'll see, they're rarer and, yeah, less unique, I would say. This square underneath the crossbar is in Bali, sorry. The small island of Bali, and it's one of the better ways to get Bali apart from the architecture. That being said, you can see variants of it in the Lesser Sunda Islands to the east of there. So, yeah, it's a good one to know for sure. Not essential, but definitely good. This one's also definitely essential. This long tag. So you will get short tags, and hopefully we see one in game. Like, there's a little bit of a tag here, but this one clearly is 3D, big, thick tag here. That's what I call it. It's just like a, I don't know, call it what you want. Second crossbar, whatever. That is found in central Sulawesi, Gorontalo, and North Sulawesi, and it is very useful indeed. Next one here, we have the so there's the main poles here with the crossbars on the top, and then there's a lot of, in Indonesia, a lot of black support poles. They're almost always painted black, and if you see them with a purple, black, green design, then you should be in eastern central Sulawesi. This is the even bar that I said. It is the one that is like from one side to the other, very evenly set on the pole. And it's very common in North Sumatra. Even if the middle insulator is slightly off-centered, you can recognize it by having this pole, which is, even on both sides, which is kind of less common in Sumatra. Satellite dishes help you determine which side of the equator you're on. You can see that there. This bollard is unique to Central Sulawesi. It is made up of yellow or orange on the top, white, and then black. And you see it every now and again. It's pretty nice when you see it. These kind of very organized tiny fences are very common on Sulawesi, though be careful when you can see fences that look somewhat similar elsewhere. This green paint on bridges is found in Central and South Kalimantan, and while it's very rare, it did show up in the World Cup, so it goes to show that it is pretty useful to know. If you find yourself in an oil palm plantation, this is one of the best ways to get Indonesia in general, because it's so common. But I would say first thought should be Sumatra, second thought should be Kalimantan, and then occasionally you'll be on Sulawesi. But it's just not really common in the southern islands, so that's what you need to know. Rice, conversely, is very common in Java. You do see it in South Sulawesi as well, Southern Sumatra as well as a decent option, and then Northern Sumatra in the flat bits on the west coast and near Medan, you do also see quite a bit of it. Nooses get driest out of anywhere in Indonesia. Sumba Island, which is part of the Nooses, is the only place you get this kind of savanna-looking landscape. It is very challenging for new players, especially if you get the dry coverage here. It often looks like Africa or something, so just remember that it exists. Extremely red soil is not that common in Indonesia, but you can see it on the islands just off of Sumatra very commonly. Tiled roofs, this is where we're talking about a very important meta right now. It kind of emanates from Java, as you can see from this map. So they're very common in Java, somewhat common in the southern two Sumatran provinces, like every now and again in Jambi. Quite common, very common in Bali and Lombok, and then as you go further east, they get less and less common, I would say. You can sometimes see them in the capital city of Sulawesi, Makassar, capital in South Sula, and sometimes in South Kalimantan as well. So yeah, just a super important one. Java roofs are Java roofs. At the end of the day, if you don't know, then you should click Java. But again, we have that special attachment on the raised trident here, which would mean that we're in Central Java or Yogyakarta there. Sheet metal is kind of the opposite, very uncommon on Java, though it can be seen. Don't discount Java. Interesting that this one labels it as not really possible or not really likely to be found in the nooses, because I would have assumed it is kind of common there. But maybe if it's like plain sheet metal, completely plain, then it's not common there. So that's actually something that I'd forgotten. But yeah, definitely the Northern Islands are most likely. Here's a very important meta. This kind of star-shaped, it's like the top half of a star, right? With the kind of slits in it. This is a very much Sulawesi piece of architecture. You should lean South Sulawesi when you see it, this province here. But yeah, it can be seen around the place in Sula. Very useful. Super tall roofs, Sumba. Fancy roofs with the crown, very important meta. That should be Bali. You can see them elsewhere, but it is, I would say, very, very common in Bali and the best way to get that province. West Sumatra with the boat-shaped roofs, and North Sumatra with the less angled boat-shaped roofs. They're less common than the others we've discussed, but you don't want to miss them because they're so distinct. Wood chipper roofs are very common in southern part of Kalimantan. Little swords on the top of the roof. You can see those in 3 places randomly. Riau, southern part of Kalimantan, and South Sulawesi. They're frustrating because obviously these three parts are very far apart, but if you see them, at least you can narrow it down somewhat. The boat-shaped houses that is in this valley of Sulawesi, which I often forget, it's also, I think, a Christian pocket of a very Muslim island. And yeah, unblurred plates, you can look at that for yourself. It's a Muslim country, of course, but Christianity meta is very powerful. So we talked about that valley here. Christianity is very common in the lesser Nusas, I would say, especially Timor. It's also very common, I think about 50% Christian in North Sumatra, especially around the lake. And in West Kalimantan, you get quite a lot of it too. Then all the way up in North Sulawesi, which was formerly part of, which was formerly a like Portuguese colony. They have a lot of Christianity there, a lot of Catholicism. So, yep. In the old coverage, there was a haze in North Kalimantan. Blurry smudge, I don't use that. Gen 3 antenna. Sometimes you get like this very plain, smooth antenna. It's not the Latin American antenna, it's a bit different, and you will see that mostly in Java. The black car can be found almost everywhere in Indonesia, but it's very common in Sulawesi. And is there anything else we want to talk about here? These like thatched steep roofs are in Nias Island, which is off the coast of North Sumatra. And there we go, that is it. So let us now get into talking about the elevation and everything, what have you. So that's not being covered up, excellent. So firstly, elevation. Let's go to terrain map here. So obviously Indonesia has a lot of flat and a lot of mountain. Best to keep in mind that normally you will see flatness on the eastern part of Sumatra, and it should be relatively flat looking. If we just click over here, you can see slight hilliness to it, but not really much in the way of mountains at all. Same thing with the islands, like they're relatively flat with a few hills here and there. Then you do get a lot of flatness on the coast here, especially like around here. It is remarkably flat. Like, don't be fooled by these bumps. Let's see if we can actually drop ourselves down here. Actually, looks like a lot of this farmland is not covered. Rest assured, it is very flat indeed. Actually, yeah, look how much they didn't cover here. For this road, we can see how very flat it is. Yep, it's just flat. So, you know, you don't assume you're automatically east if you see that. Yeah, so very mountainous as it gets up to here. Aceh is covered in mountains, but as I said, Aceh, look at the red lines just up to here. You get a tiny bit of coverage in Banda Aceh, so you got to keep in mind that you may be with those, I was going to say uneven poles, but these ones are actually even somehow. So, yeah, I don't know. Aceh's a bit of a mystery to me. Java is known for having a lot of volcanoes, so especially in East Java, they're very prominent. It's pretty much most of the mountains are just volcanoes, so ones like these over here, they're very visible from a distance, I would say. Especially if you're, happen to be out on the rice fields, you can often see them. To the north, so if you're in a very flat area, sure, there's like some around Yogyakarta flatness here, but the majority of the time you'll be in that kind of near Jakarta or near Surabaya area. And if it's very flat, then probably this one here. Nusas are pretty much exclusively mountainous with some flat bits. So, yeah, pretty much always going to be able to see hills there. Same in Sulawesi. This is like the flattest part over here. You get some flatness near Makassar. Everything else you're pretty much going to be able to see some kind of hills most of the time. Maluku, the same. Mostly going to be hilly, although to be fair, some of the places it drives are pretty flat. So I guess Maluku's kind of mixed all in all. And we're not talking about Philippines, so I'm not sure I'm zoomed there. Kalimantan is pretty flat for the most part, especially where the Google car goes. Like, you're going to see random hills in West Kalimantan. Down here in Central, most of the coverage is going to be flat. You can see that. You may see mountains in South Kalimantan, although I feel like it's quite forested. A lot of the time you don't see it. And then going up the east, it still remains quite flat. There's some hills here. But the real mountainous area of the coverage is mostly seen on the Malaysian side, I would say, where they actually live in the mountains more. I don't know. Kapan, there's not even, like, roads going here. So, I think it's fair to say, yeah, there's not even roads going to these places, even if people do live there. So most of the time, due to where the coverage goes in Kalimantan, you will be more so on the side of flat stuff. Sulawesi is kind of not the case for that. Yes, there's more coverage in the flat bits, of course, but you're often passing through the mountains or right on the coast. Nusus, you're often in the mountains, for sure. Bali is just a mix of everything because it's completely covered, and you can see even on the slopes of these volcanoes, you get coverage. So let's have a look how this looks, yeah. Very cool coverage. Like, do you go Indonesia there? If you're a good player, maybe, but it's not easy. What are they growing here? I don't know. Some bananas in the background. I'm not sure what this crop is here. If you know, you can tell me. Yeah. And then, yeah. Sumatra's kind of a mix. The islands have coverage all over, so you may see hills. And that's kind of it. So Maluku was the most recently added, and the coverage here is quite limited. But just remember, you can be on the volcanoes, which is pretty cool, and also can be difficult. And you lose a lot of points if you're wrong about. I mean, that's the thing about Indonesia. I didn't really set the scene, but Indonesia is such an important country to win, to be good at, because if you put the maximally east extent of the coverage, start a measurement all the way up to here, it's 4,000 kilometers. Now, if you compare that to Australia, you know, going Sydney on Perth is about the same, and if you compare that to going like LA on Florida, it's about the same. So, yeah, you really need to know your Indo. You don't want to be going the wrong side, and that is just a fact. So, let us get into the gameplay here, and see if we can play well, and I will explain my thought process here, as usual. Okay, and also Indonesia is significantly harder than Australia and Brazil, which we've played so far, so let's see how I go. I've not practiced Indo since the World Cup. First thing I'm noticing, metallic, even pole, and it doesn't, I believe it does not have the tag I was talking about. It kind of meets evenly here. So that combination, I would say, is immediately leaning me towards West Kalimantan. You also see this pole top quite a bit in Maluku, and I could not say that this is definitely not Maluku, but yeah, worth keeping in mind. We actually do have the Black Card 2023, so maybe actually we are in Maluku here. Would be a bit of a cruel beginning because Maluku is difficult. And then you also get this pole top quite a bit, I believe, in West Sumatra. But I would say that the angle is a little bit sharper, and this looks like the normal kind of 90, 45 degree angle, whatever. 90 degree triangle, 45 degree on the other side, yeah. So, yeah, that's the question really here is between Maluku and West Sumatra, and I'm trying to figure out a good way to get it here. I feel like this actually may be Maluku. I think the big reason I'm thinking that is because we don't have any marking on the road, and it just feels like a very small place to get covered. Also, in Generation 4, you get the black car, the grey car, and the white car. And I know Maluku is pretty much only black car, and this is black, so it's kind of leaning me that way. I think I'm going to try it here. And it was nice. So that is definitely aided by car meta there. But the thing is, car meta in Indonesia is very complicated because they're always covering. I would say it is good to remember that Maluku is basically 2023 black. If you're going to remember one meta for the whole of Indonesia, I would actually say, in terms of Gen 4 car metas, that is probably the one to remember. Okay, this time we're Gen 3. My nose is itchy for some reason. So one thing I'm noticing here is that there is... So in the mountains, looking at the trees here, we have like some bamboo going on. We don't have many palms. This is a difficult one. Like definitely difficult. Not even sure if that's Indonesian. It's weird. I often don't like guessing Java when you're in the middle of nowhere, because Java is just hyper populated. If you zoom into anywhere, I just zoomed into a random spot and I'm on a road, you know? Let's go again. I'll close my eyes, move my thing over. Okay. Go there. Okay. I've just picked a random spot. And again, like you're in a town. Like it's like extremely populated, extremely so. So whenever I see no one around, I'm suspicious of Java for that reason. That being said, this is very difficult and I'm not sure where we are. I think just based on vibes, and there's not much to teach on this round, but I think I would go like West Sumatra maybe. The white car is also pretty common on Sumatra, but it's common everywhere. It could be like Gorontalo. I don't know. Like, it could be Java. It could be actually Nooses here. Actually, why am I kind of between Sumatra and Nooses now? It does. There is a certain vibe where I could pick up Nooses here, but I've literally mentioned everything, so I'm just going to go here. Let's see if we're right. And it was Nooses, man. I should have trusted myself. I had thought of it too late. I think if I thought of it earlier, it would have been okay. Okay, next one here. Very red soil. I'm noticing that's kind of unusual. Indonesian plate there with the 3 sections. Okay, metal poles here, so... Oof. Okay. I think I have a read here. I might be tripping though. As I said, Indonesia is difficult. We got like a lot of this kind of like what would you say, like weed instead of like real grass. We got this kind of weed growing here, and I would say that this may be the Nias ivy. It also feels quite strange. I believe Nias uses metal poles for the most part, and the whole place feels kind of weird with very red soil. I feel like this does fit for Nias, so I'm going to go there. And it was just on the mainland of West Sumatra. Okay. I can live with that, because it was another very difficult round. I would not normally expect this place to have such red soil, but that's okay. Next one here, we're finally in a somewhat urban setting, so hopefully this should help us out. Once again, we got this like tin roof, which is leaning us away from Java. We have also a very organized little fence here, so that is really making me think of Sulawesi here. And that does fit with the architecture, I believe. And we even have one of those southern Sulawesi roofs that can be found in a few places. So yeah, I'm feeling good about Sulawesi here. Lots of coconut palms. They're very common there. Yeah, I think we see more Sulawesi roofs potentially there. But I think with the fence and with what I can see of this shape of this roof, that will be enough to go southern Sulawesi here. And let's find out. Okay, it was all the way south. Next one here, single yellow line. Very poorly drawn. So this is a concrete pole with the kind of like even crossbar. We've got tiled roofs this time. Okay, that's interesting. So definitely a strong majority of tiled roofs. I can see every single house has tiled roofs, and we've got an even pole top. I believe with this combination, we should be safe to go West Java. I guess the main concern here, or Banten as well. I think the main concern here, actually with a lot of palm trees, maybe we go more Banten, I think. But I think the main concern here would be like West Sumatra, because this pole top almost looks like that. The road is also really nice, which fits for both places. But West Sumatra would be using more tin roofs than this in any case, so I feel confident here. Wow. Lampung Coastal. Okay. This is a very difficult round. We didn't have the triangle thing on the pole, which we mentioned for West Sumatra, for West Java. But to see this proportion of tiled roofs is kind of surprising. One thing I will say, I didn't realize until after the guess that this is actually a tin roof here. It could have helped me to go in Sumatra. But in any case, this is kind of a baity round, I would say. The predominance of the tiled roofs here does surprise me. But okay, we went up with a 10,000, 11,000 point score there. Even after the good start, it was not a very good one, unfortunately. Here we have southern Sulawesi roofs, and it is extremely flat. Over to our south, we can see flatness. I think we see rice as well. I would say this is almost certainly near Makassar, and if it's not, it's in that flat bit over here that I mentioned. I'm noticing like a bit of haze in the sky, so that would lead me to the inference that we are near a big city. So I would say this is Makassar outskirts. And it's actually near Pinrang instead. Still a good score, I suppose. Next one here. Concrete road, it would seem. Definitely less common in Indonesia than its neighbors. This pole top here with the kind of even crossbar, but it's a little bit more angled. That's quite like a Sumatran pole top, I would say. They're also metal though, which is a bit sus. So we could actually just be in West Kalimantan as well, because they definitely do more metal poles on Kalimantan. So yeah, that's kind of the 50-50 here. This angle is definitely sharper than I would expect, especially this one here in Kalimantan. So, can we get anything else here? So it's kind of red. That's also more common on Kalimantan than Sumatra, maybe a little bit. Lots of bamboo. It feels like a wild forest, which is a little bit strange for Sumatra, so I think I have to go Kalimantan here. But I feel like we've gotten very, unfortunately, difficult rounds so far. I could be wrong about that. Let me know, Indo experts, if you agree. But, yeah, I'm pretty certain it's one of those two that I mentioned. Car here, May, it's 2024, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go here. Good. Definitely, some of the pole meters, a lot of pole meters in Indo are not 100%. Okay, this is more like it, pretty standard, oh, look, the chicken is so thin. Pretty standard palm oil plantation, very white sand that you see a lot on Sumatra. And then I'm noticing the even pole top with, you know, two on one side, one on the other. As we mentioned, that's very common in North Sumatra. Could be elsewhere, but with flat, I would just click here. And okay, it is North Sumatra. This one's going a lot better. We are 3 rounds in and we have our last seed score. Okay, lots of new housing here. New housing estates. Double poles are less trustworthy. I would not factor those into your guess too much. I'm noticing here that we have very few tiled roofs, if any. So these are not tiles. This is corrugated iron. There's also such thing as fake tiles, which I'll show when we get to it. Actually, these are fake tiles. So they're made of plastic. You kind of get an eye for it, but the very fact that they're not red should be a clue. And let's check out our pole top here. So our pole top is kind of generic. One support beam with an even pole top. Okay, it's giving like a bit of a Sumatra vibe, I would say. Now, can we get any better than that? Oh, if I saw more red soil, I would be tempted by Bunker Islands here. As it stands, I could see this being a number of places, unfortunately. I could see it being West Sumatra, West Kalimantan. It's not out of the question. I could also just see like a pretty standard, like South Sumatra, maybe Jambi here. That feels kind of wild, which I think is more of a South Sumatran kind of thing. I don't know. Why is there only one support beam? That is throwing me for a loop. Otherwise, I would probably just be satisfied with West Kalimantan here, but I feel like that's kind of uncommon there. Yeah, unfortunately, not really much to be gained here. This is another toughie. But okay. I think... Yeah, I get very mixed messages from this round. I'm pretty sure it's Kalimantan or Sumatra, though. Do I try down here? I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to go Bangka here. Okay, and it was Lampung, really. As we said, Lampung, you would normally see some tiled roofs. And we're right near Bandar Lampung there, so I don't quite comprehend why it looked like that. But, you know, we move. Next one here, very red soil. We got some oil palms going on here. We got Muslims. It may say where we are here. Okay, no. Pondok Sarang Kulit. That might be a place name, but not one I'm familiar with. Okay. So, very red soil here. Tin roofs, they're kind of like a dark red tin. I would associate that with Sumatra. Not to mention the general kind of feel with the oil palms. We also have this curved plastic roof, which you see very commonly on the coast in Sumatra and on the coast in Kalimantan and on all the islands. So maybe that is going to be relevant here. In fact, I think it's a very consistent meta. So I would be thinking maybe like Jambi here, South Sumatra, something like that. Probably Jambi. Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure, but that is the vibe I'm getting here, so let's give that a go. I'm gonna go like that. Oof, and it's North Sumatra. Yeah, I guess so. We at least get 14,000 there. We got the right region every time, but that is another challenging one. Don't really know how I'd get myself closer there, unfortunately. Next one here, a lot of tin roofs. The dark red tin roof, as I said, pretty common in Sumatra. Lots of oil palms again. We have some areca palms, which have a lot smaller of a canopy than like a coconut palm, which we see to the right of it. And that areca palm, oh, here's another one, is associated with Sumatra. Is very uncommon in Sulawesi outside of the south, and is pretty uncommon in, can be seen in Kalimantan, but relatively uncommon on Java, so yeah, it does lean you towards Kalimantan, to Sumatra. Okay. The houses are also built further apart from one another in Sumatra because they have more space. And we don't have any pole tops here, so that's going to make the round significantly more difficult. Had we pole tops here, then we could probably get the right province. But it seems like we can't, so I would maybe try Riau here. Okay. Well, yeah, we had the oil palms, which is the first, like, red flag. I mean, the first thing that made us go the wrong place. But, was that actually a way for me to get this? I mean, let's have a look at these. Did we have the, pole marking? We didn't. Okay, how could I mean, even with Arekas, that is, well, let's see, South Sulawesi. Where was it, actually? Up there? I mean, yeah, definitely possible, but unlikely, I feel. Okay. I mean, even the houses looked Sumatran to me, so I'm a bit out of practice here, but that is another difficult one. I don't think we got really freebies yet, so I think I might just guess faster until we get some more, freebie rounds. Okay, this feels very, I mean, like tons of Arekas, so that's interesting. Oh, we're in Nempuhulu. Tanah Pinem. That's the Kecamatan. They've got the Kecamatan listed here. Kabupaten Dairi. Okay, gotta remember what that is. I think Dairi might have been in West Sumatra? Like around here, maybe? Or is it like... I think it's the name of a town here. Somewhere around there. Or is it around the lake? I know it's like North or West Sumatra, so yeah. I mean, again, so this time we actually do have areca palms that aren't lying. We have tin roofs that aren't lying. At least as far as if my memory serves correctly. And, I mean, yeah. It's definitely got a unique vibe, this one. I think without those two details and without the covered pattern, it could have been a struggle. But with this many of them, I think it is more reliable. Should be. So let's see. I kind of felt like Diary was like around here or here. Putney? Diary. I'm just gonna have to go the middle because I can't remember if it's like more this side or more this side. Oh, and it was. Oh, it was up there. Damn it. Not going well, honestly. I forgot a lot of Cabo Pattern after I've stopped training after the World Cup, but yeah, I'll get back to it at some point. Blue Roof here. Blue Roof is typically known as a Kalimantan meta, so watch it be wrong again. The shape of this roof, the way it's shaped is quite Sumatran, though. Okay. Okay, lots of coconut palms. Blue Roof. Man, it is... I swear this has been very, like, rural. I think if we just play the default Indonesia map, which I might do for a few seeds after, we'll just get free rounds and I'll show you what that looks like. Another blue roof. And another. Okay, I would have to go then Kalimantan here. I think I would have to go Kalimantan. Despite the fact this looks quite Sumatran, I will go here. And it's even Sulawesi. I considered Sulawesi here. With the amount of coconut palms, that makes sense. And with the white brick architecture, we see a bit of white brick architecture here. That's much more in the Nooses and in in the Nooses and in Sulawesi. It's in the east part of the country. And a white brick fence. Actually, I didn't notice this one as well. I noticed this one, but had I realized that this is also a white brick fence? To be fair, they're all kind of white brick. Okay, so that's actually a gettable one. But we again have... Is that oil palm? I thought we could see some oil palms here. Maybe not. You know what? Yeah, it's this one's actually gettable. This one's not that hard. Yeah. Okay. Annoying, annoying. So lots of tiled roofs here. We got metal poles though, so it doesn't feel very Javanese. Areca palms, some tiled roofs. Oh, that's like a North Sumatra pole top. Okay, I was not thinking North Sumatra here with such a tiled roof, and also like a birdhouse. These birdhouses, they're really common on Kalimantan. So what the heck is going on here? These are like West Kalimantan poles. We have like one North Sumatra pole, but I feel like this is actually the North Sumatra pole. If I'm wrong, then what the heck is going on, bro? Then we're actually just getting so unlucky. But like, what would a tiled roof be doing in West Kalimantan? That would be very weird. But it's still weird for North Sumatra. Like, that is pretty unique, for sure. Also, the style of the road, it feels very West Kalimantan, bro. I mean, West Kalimantan. Okay, can we get the place name here? Nope. Oh, Sungai Rumbai. Yeah, Sungai is, oh no, I was thinking of Sangao. Sungai Rumbai. Is that still a place though? I don't think it's no, no. Sungai. It definitely, I think it is a place. Wait, Sungai. Bro, I'm a little bit tired right now. Didn't get the best sleep last night, but Sundai? Bro, Sungai. I don't know where that is, but this is highly confusing. I'm gonna trust these pole tops. I've never seen those in West Sumatra. It just has to be a very baity North Sumatra here. And it's West Sumatra. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, that actually makes sense. Sometimes the North Sumatra poles do just appear in like Riau and West Sumatra, and then we had a bunch of the ones that are the West Kalimantan ones that are in West Sumatra that look similar. Gosh, bro. Sungai Sijunga. No, I don't think it's... I don't know. That's just crazy. Okay, this feels very distinctive. Super red soil. We've got the rounded plastic things again. It is like a harbor place here. And we have some big fancy buildings. Okay. I think I know what's going on here. So first thought was Riau, because you get a lot of like industry on the coast there, and obviously these roofs are pretty common in Riau, but I'm pretty sure this is actually the Riau Islands here, because we can see islands off to our west. And we see a lot of boats, and we see fancy, like, condos or whatever. Like, we're close to Singapore. That's the reason, I think. Okay, how urbanized is this? Not very urbanized. Probably, like, around here. West. I'll try that. Okay, it was just near the main ports. I wanted to go here because everything made sense for what we could see here, and obviously, like, being super close to Singapore, seeing those fancy buildings made sense. But on the other hand, like, I thought we would probably see more buildings in this area. I mean, clearly, if you go a bit further east, there are plenty, but it's still a good score. Okay, 8,000 there. That was an absolute shocking seed. Let's play some I'm coping now. But let's play some Indonesia. Let's play some Indonesia just so we can experience the good life, you know? Apparently my high score is ever 13,000 here, so we can outdo that. Okay. Immediately feeling Sumatran, uneven pole top, tons of oil palms here. Now, this could be Kalimantan. We have a lot of fake tiles going on. But this house feels very Sumatran. This one feels Sumatran, but with a Kalimantan roof. But yeah, this should be Sumatra. And I would say it looks like West Sumatra, but South Sumatra, but it could be like Jambi. Okay. On the coast, those coastal plantations are very difficult to get correct, even for very experienced players, so I'm not mad about that. Next one here, North Sumatra pole top. Like, roofs are also fitting. I see more of them. Direction of the hills is southwest. So I'm just going to go here. Finally. See, I told you it would be a lot easier. We were getting actually stitched up with the most crazy dirt roads. Okay, black Geoguessr here. That's interesting. Okay, official map, what are you doing? We are on a very small and nice quality road with a black Google car. It's making me think we could be in North Sulawesi here. We have a lot of coconut palms as well. I think it is Sulawesi, but I'm not sure where. I'm going to try this. Okay, it is Sulawesi, but literally the exact opposite side. I guess the fact that we had corn maybe would be more down here. More crops down here. Definitely more rice, but maybe more corn too. I think it's quite a difficult round. Okay, now we're back to urban. We should have the Kota... Oh, Kota Mabago is up here. Yeah, that's a freebie. Knowing your city names in Indonesia is quite important, I would say, because they write Kota, which means city. A nice vocab for you guys. Now, we can probably also get that from just how urban this is. Because they're probably right at the Kabupaten. Bandung. Oh, yeah. Let's say we're in Bandung right now. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, we got 15,000 on the first try, but we can do better than that. Next one here, tons of tiles. This feels Javanese. We have a metal pole here, which is a bit sus. So this could be like a lesser Sunda, like a nooses. But, give me something here. Oh, gosh. I don't think it's Java anymore. I think whatever's going on here does not quite feel enough Javanese. We have like a solid like color on the pole, which I associate with like islands around here. It could just be Java though. Ah, come on, man. It could also be Lampung. I'm not sure. The way that there's like a mix of colors on the roof, maybe. I can't remember how it works, man. Okay, here's what I think. I think it's East Java, no, it's not Bali. We don't have enough Balinesian roofs. I think I'm just gonna go East Java here. The lack of poles is disturbing though. Okay, it's just Central Java, that's fine. Okay, so... Oh yeah, that looks like a North Sumatra pole top. It's a bit wild for North Sumatra perhaps, but we do have a lot of oil palms, so I think I would just trust it. And it's just Riau. Yeah, we've been unlucky with those pole tops. They're normally fairly consistent. Lots of tiled roofs here. Provinsi Java Timur, so East Java. And that makes sense with the number of tiled roofs here, though it's not a completely free round, I admit. I may have got this wrong. I probably wouldn't have gone East Java. But I'll go here now. Yeah, it felt quite eastern. Okay, lots of these dark tin roofs. This is super urban. Kind of difficult. What do we got? Down this way. Not so sure. Doors, hoping we might get something there. Now this is difficult for sure. I'm not sure. It's some urban center. It does not have tiled roofs. Is that Christians? I think that's a cross. Yeah, I think we've got Christians here. Okay. Why do we have Christians? Where are we? I don't think we're in this pocket here. North Sulawesi generally feels a bit richer than this. Do we have much white brick? We do have it on this wall here. We have lots of like normal red brick here. That would be leaning me away from there. Are we in Medan? I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, are we on a north-south grid? No. Medan has a lot of like north-south grid. So what? Which Christians are these? I mean, of course, you would occasionally see a random church in the others, but it's less likely. Maybe it's just Jakarta. But no, we don't have enough tiled roofs, I would say. I would try... Not Medan. I would try Samosir here. Crazy guess. And it is Manado. I thought it didn't look rich enough. But at the end of the day, That's a 50-50 that you will lose sometimes. And look at that. It's 1 point. Okay. And this one, so concrete road. A lot of metal poles here. And the white Google car. Okay. Tin roofs. Even pole tops with some uneven sprinkled in. Actually, more uneven than even. Yellow on the top of the pole. Okay, I think with the concrete road, you normally lean towards East Kalimantan. I think everything here fits okay for East Kalimantan. This pole top here looks fairly decent. The architecture is okay. I think if we're wrong, it's Sumatra. I think it's a lot of metal poles, but I feel like these are concrete. So, okay, we're in Sumatra. I don't think there's like a particular place in Sumatra where you get a lot of concrete roads, as I recall. So, I'm just gonna see if I'm right. Oh, I don't know about this landscape. Like the rolling landscape is very weird for Kalimantan. Like, would you really see this here? No, it's more like ridges. So that makes me unconfident. Nope, I don't know. Let's try. And it is. Oh my gosh. Again, like, I would not really have thought that there are many concrete roads in West Sumatra at all. But I guess at least you guys are seeing this is a challenging country. It requires some work. And even if you know all the pole stuff, it is still a challenge. Okay. We've got the little triangle here on the poles. But this is not West Java, I would say, because it feels too poor. Then again, we do have like destroyed houses here. This does not feel like this field does not feel like Java at all. So I would probably just go Riau here. Oh my gosh, Bunker. Oh yeah. Actually, on Bunker, there was like fires or whatever, and you get ash on the side of the road quite commonly in like all coverage. And this is panel ID'd, of course it is. It doesn't look like that anymore. I think you can forgive me here. This is like overwritten coverage. I don't know why world maps do this, but it's hard to keep it in mind if you practice. Mostly, okay, this is some crazy stuff, man. This looks just like the one we failed on West Sumatra again. What the heck? Is this like Sumba? Okay, I can actually see this being Sumba. The like bamboo fence does remind me of like the lesser nooses. And I said, you know, the savanna landscape. This almost reminds me of that. It does. We don't see any like Sumba gigatall roofs. But I don't mind the shout. Blue roof there's interesting. Oh, we have like a Palmyra palm here. It's very hard to make out, but I feel like that makes me feel at least confident that this is nooses. And it is. Oh, thank goodness we were due for a good guess, man. Okay, we got the antenna, so it should be Java. Fancy roofs. Very fancy roofs here. Interesting. Yeah, probably just gonna go Central Java. Concrete road. I know they're common in button 10. Could this be button 10? Maybe. Actually, maybe button 10 here. I think I would just go Central Java here. Yeah, Central Java is the play. Another concrete road. Black car. With like the haze on the camera and the oil palms. I feel like we're like in Central Kalimantan near the coast somewhere here. Scheisse. Really, man. Okay, I mean, it's just like old coverage. I'm pretty sure, again, this is just overwritten stuff. Okay, dry here. This is unusually dry, and it feels like the nooses for that reason, I think. Very poor road here. This could be like West Nusa, but I'm also wondering about Timor. East... I might just hedge it in East Nusa here. What does that actually look like? Timor. Maybe not Timor. I think I'll actually go West Nusa here. Let's go like that. And it is Timor, damn it. Okay, we struggled today on Indonesia. I feel like, you know, still I can teach quite a bit, even if the guesses are not ideal. But this was seriously a struggle and a half for some reason. I mean, Indonesia is always tough, but I feel like I can definitely average 15k if I'm playing well. I guess this is a symptom of not really playing in a month. But we're at that 55-minute mark, so yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, regardless of a bit of a rough ending. I hope it was useful to you all. And yeah, let me know which country is coming next. I would say thank you for watching, and goodbye.